I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving.
Oh yes, my Straight Talk family. You hear that theme song and you know it is time for another edition of Straight Talk. And time for me to bid you good night, my Straight Talk family, wherever you are on this planet Earth. It's time for me to say good night in particular to my Straight Talk family in St. Kitts and Nevis, and to my Straight Talk family throughout the entire Caribbean region, or as a matter of fact, to my Straight Talk family all over the world, because we are on the World Wide Web, and we come to you, especially those in the Kittitian and Nevidian diaspora in Africa, those in Asia, those of you in Europe, and there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I can say good morning, and I will say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And my Straight Talk family, I want to welcome all, and I thank those who continue to share the link. I beg you to share the link each time, and when you do, we get first-timers. And I want to inform the first-timers in particular that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. On this program, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liebert, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And I always remind you that as your host, I am duty-bound to remind you that I continue to pledge to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. And I'm reminded each time I come to the program of the words of this wonderful hymn, which goes like this: we are called to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and the right, standing firm for godly justice, bringing evil things to light. So absolutely nothing is watered down on this program, whether by omission or exaggeration to make it more interesting. No, Straight Talk is not about sensationalism or creating excitement, especially at the expense of accuracy, at the expense of truth, because I consider it my duty to always present the unvarnished truth, I call it, the plain truth, and nothing but the truth, especially when it comes to transparency and good governance in my beloved country, or our beloved country, I should say, of St. Kitts and Nevis. And through this program, we are joined together. We are joined together with people across our federation. We are joined together with our people in the diaspora all around the world. Some we know, and we know some others very well. We have met others we do not know, and many we will never meet and never will know. There's some who will agree with the positions of truth that are advanced on Straight Talk, and some who would obviously disagree. And that's fine. But I want to say, it will sadden me, my Straight Talk family, if ever we start to become disagreeable. Let's not go there. Let's just thank Almighty God for helping us to understand how great or how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let's just hope and pray for the day when we all sing his praises together. And we welcome again, my people, and thanks one more time for those who share the link. Please share the link as you bring first time, as you help us to spread the word. And please continue to do so. And some tell me that they do not get the link always, and I apologize for that. And I encourage you nonetheless to just subscribe to the channels. Subscribe to the YouTube or Facebook channels. And this comes at no cost, absolutely no cost whatsoever to you. Thereby you will get an alert. That's all. You'll get an alert each time the program is on or is expected to begin. And to the first timers, I must also inform you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls and we include your emails. And if you are so minded to call, the numbers are 869-663-6672. That's a local number. So if you're calling from the local area, all you dial is 663-6672. Or you can access the program as well via our overseas line, which is 646. That's the area code, 829-6672. And I make provisions for those who like what I call the cloak of anonymity. By that I mean there are some who are afraid to be heard. They're afraid that their voices be recognized. So what we do, we give that population access to our email platform, and the address is straightalkpatches. That's one word, straighttalkpatches@gmail.com. It's always a pleasure as well to welcome my junior brigade, young Dwayne, Tristan, Shamar Woods, Kevin Hanley, and I just got listed Rue. Rue, your grandmother gave me your name, but grandmama, if your mama, or my family, I should say, is it South Carolina? If you're listening, please share either by email the last name, but if Rue is enough, that's fine. But we hail Rue, a young brigade, Straight Talk Brigade, who reminds his grandma about Straight Talk every Monday and Thursday, I'm told. And I will never forget that special lady in St. Louis as well. We'll meet her sometime, I promise you. I am not aware of any new or fresh obituaries. I mean, I'm not looking forward to that, but in the event there is, we extend our condolences to those who have lost loved ones. I know a young Smith was interred today, and I forgot to hail his mom, my very dear friend, Mrs. Smith. The last time I made mention of this sad passing of a son, and forgive me, Mom, but we trust that you will understand that. And death is a process, and I can say anything to the entire family, entire Smith family there from Sandy Point. But Jim Cliff once said, I always like to remind you that death is a process. But moving forward, I have titled my thesis for tonight. And for the first timers, we always have a thesis. We present a short dissertation each program so we can have some discussion and keep you abreast to things that are happening in the process. And our dissertation tonight I have titled Road to Sustainable Island State Cannot Lead Through Brantley-Nevis. And we will discuss that momentarily after we first look at one or two observations in review. And our OIRs, or our observations in review, are an integral part of our program. And after this, I will include your calls and your emails to allow your full participation. And observations in review is a time when we highlight the current issues of the day and do some reflection. We may then ask a few questions, such as what was accomplished, how has it helped others, and what has changed since we would have raised the issues or the observations, and what can be expected next. And more importantly, or most importantly, I may say, we try to find out what new we have learned as a people. And my first observation, my Straight Dog family, and it's one of the issues I wish to raise tonight. And it is that of transparency and good governance. And I never get tired in raising those two issues, because this administration in office came in on that wave of that promise of providing transparency and good governance. And they have been found wanting, whichever is the right term. But in the process, however, I must extend congratulations to the cable. The cable, which is a wholly owned entity, wholly owned by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. And the cable, we are told, is celebrating 40 years of existence in St. Kitts and Nevis. So congratulations are in order. And this company has recently embarked upon improving the aesthetics of the lobby of the J. in France General Hospital as part of the overall plan, or part of the plan to enhance the infrastructure and services at that institution. And the CEO of the cable had this to say, my Straight Talk family, at the official ceremony.
We wanted to make sure that whatever we did, it benefited the nation, not just our customers for our 40th anniversary, but the people of the Federation. Many of us at some point or other have reason to pass through the lobby on the way to visit someone or states and wait services, and we wanted to create a pleasant atmosphere so that whether you're waiting or passing through, your spirits would be uplifted in this very, very important institution in our nation. As a long-standing local company, we've fully invested in the development of our island state. We understand that customers who we serve will at some point or other use this facility.
And my Straight Talk family, while we commend the board of directors and management of the cable for this act of benevolence, I will call it, it is, however, troubling that a member of the cable board was apparently handpicked by the minister and soca engineer Conris Maynard to undertake, I should say, the landscaping component of these works. And that's troubling. And this new administration really does not care about the law as it continues to flout the Procurement and Contract Administration Act. Come on, Dr. Drew. Come on, Attorney General Garth Lucian Wilkin. You said it's a crime not to tender. So why is this happening all the time? And our second observation, nonetheless, my Straight Talk family, relates to the snake Mark Brantley, who presented his quote-unquote 2023 budget estimates for 2024. But he has baffled many, including myself, with what seems to be a voodoo budget. He spoke, for example, about the revenue up to October 2022, my Straight Talk family. Revenue up to October 2022. And I found that very strange, you know. I found that very strange when he spoke, as I said again, about the revenue up to October 2022.
Our recurrent revenue generated as of October 31st, 2023, amounted to $118.88 million. That represents an increase of $9.69 million, or 8.9%, over the $109.19 million generated over the same period in 2022. This is also an improvement of $1.54 million over the forecast revenue of $117.34 million, which was expected to be generated by October 2023. This revenue, coupled with the amount of 61.96 million, which includes funds received through development aid, along with a share of revenue from the CBI program, resulted in a total revenue of $180.84 million. This represents an overall increase in revenue of $14.4 million, or 8.7%, when compared to total revenue of $166.44 million collected for the period up to October 2022.
October 2022. Interesting. But he went on, nonetheless, my Stray Dog family, and he spoke in a convoluted manner, about a deficit in his budget as well. Here's what he said.
Our primary balance has contracted by $4.79 million, moving from a surplus of $15.78 million at the end of October 2022 to a surplus of $10.98 million as of October 31st, 2023. Our overall balance moved from a surplus of $1.13 million at the end of October 2022 to a deficit of $3.9 million as of October 31st, 2023. The fiscal deficit remains relatively unchanged, moving from $21.25 million in 2022 to $21.64 million at the end of October 2023. Our fiscal position as of October 31st, 2023 remains hopeful. Madam President, I pause for a moment just to say that anytime we hear the word deficit, it means that there's work to be done.
And my Stray Dog family, he did speak as well about the staggering debt which is being underreported, it seems. Because the periods mentioned about October 2022 are questionable. They are questionable because accounts for the fiscal year and the fiscal year of the administration or the assembly or the NIA, yes, like St. Kitts Nevis, the federal government, runs from January to December of 2022. And the 2022 accounts should have been already audited. So why is he convoluted? Why is he mixing up these figures the way he's doing it? Like it's a voodoo, like I said, like a voodoo budget. And I tell you as well, a Stray Dog family, the public debt he spoke to as well.
As of 31st October 2023, the central government debt stock portfolio stood at $480.08 million, which is an increase of 4.8% when compared to the debt level of $458.27 million as at December 31st, 2022. For the period under review, the central government domestic debt amounted to $450.74 million. Our central government debt, combined with the debts of our statutory corporations, provide an overall public sector debt of $544.69 million as at October 31st, 2023, which indicates an increase of 4% when compared to the public sector debt level of $523.92 million as of December 31st, 2020.
It still is a staggering debt. Over $500 million for our little Nevis. And this has caused Brantley, the bad manager, to introduce some fiscal measures, new fiscal measures he called them. I'm so sorry for the people in Nevis. And I believe this is a prelude to what's coming here in St. Kitts, which I understand the budget session begins here. Honestly, in St. Kitts Nevis, next week, Wednesday, my Stray Dog family, which I believe it's the 13th of December. But Brantley, the snake, said this.
This government intends to institute the following revenue recovery measures designed to reduce the accumulation of arrears incurred by various government departments and realign the revenue from essential services with the cost of providing them. 1. We will reassess the rates for electricity consumption to lower the burden now on the government for subsidies on electricity consumption. 2. We will revise the fees for services provided at our health facilities, especially at the Alexander unimpeded. Thirdly, we will reassess prices of items offered at the supply office. This adjustment to the price of these items is driven by the general increase in the cost of buying these items on the international and regional market, as massive subsidies from the government. 4. We shall recommence our regular disconnection program at both Water Department and NEVLEC. We wish to encourage all of our citizens to be responsible and make the regular monthly payments for the utility bills a priority. Madam President, I must say that our people continue to pay Flow and Digicel first and forget about water and electricity. And I usually marvel and wonder how you could use your phone if you don't have electricity. So they don't want to pay for electricity, but they pay for the phone. If you don't have any way to plug.
My Sri Lanka family, he has warned you. Do not pay your Flow bills or your digital bills before you pay for your water and your electricity. But the thing is going to be hard in Nevis come next year. And Senkis likewise, because our Prime Minister here is walking or running lockstep, as we say in colloquial terms, with the snake over there in Nevis. But those are my observations in review for tonight, my Stray Dog family. And we will talk some more about the voodoo budget, I call it, because the fiscal year for the administration begins in January of each year and ends in December of the said year. And he won't have actuals for 2023, for example, as I always remind you that accountants drive the car. No disrespect to the accountants, but accountants drive the car in the rearview mirror. They will tell us what was done in government over a year ago, but they don't tell us how what was done was done. And the snake Brantley seemed to have taken that approach, as he keep mentioning periods about October 2022 and making comparisons to October 2023. Come on. What are the actuals as per the audited accounts in Nevis for the period January to December 2022? Let us know what was your debt then and stop juxtaposing and juggling with these figures, my Stray Dog family. But those are my observations in review. And I move right on to my thesis for tonight, as mentioned earlier. It's titled Road to Sustainability, or Road to Sustainable Island State, beg your pardon, cannot lead through Brantley-Nevis. Because a few days ago, on Tuesday 5th exactly, December, as I said, I listened to the 2023 budget address by the snake Mark Brantley, and I was taken aback when he made these comments during his presentation in the Nevis Island Assembly. Here's what he had the audacity to say, my Straight Talk family.
Renewable energy, therefore, and geothermal energy in particular, means that Nevis and by extension St. can achieve energy security, water security, food security, and economic security. And I'm happy that Basti has finally recognized that the road to an island, sustainable island state leads through Nevis.
My Sridhar family, you heard the snake? He's happy that Bastia finally recognized. And he went on, and by extension, St. Kitts. Have you heard the snake's language? But the sudden expectation or hope expressed by the snake Mark Brantley that the road to a sustainable island state will lead through a Brantley-Nevis is nothing short of being bombastic and founded, it seems, in his new love with an inexperienced Prime Minister, Dr. Thru. The sudden belief that something will happen since Dr. Thru signed a letter of guarantee for the Caribbean Development Bank, then tabled a resolution in the St. Kitts-Nevis Parliament declaring that the potential geothermal in Nevis is a national resource, thus becoming the panacea in the future that will present a solution or remedy for all the political, environmental, social, and economic difficulties that our beloved country is now facing. And I say, my Straight Dog family, I say without fear of contradiction that it is nothing but disillusionment, if that's the right word. Because in the face of the snake, Mark Brantley's betrayal of his former leaders, Vance Winkworth Emery, may his soul rest in peace, my dear cousin, and Timothy Sylvester Harris, also the betrayal of his own people, who all clamored for unity. My Straight Dog family, lest we forget that the idea of assembling a united group that will form a unity government came from the people of St. Kitts-Nevis and not from any politician or political party. We must have all remembered this, my Straight Dog family.
Over the two polls that we did, one of the issues we looked at was how people felt about a group of politicians who might become united. What was clear from the outset was that there was a notion that unity was important to contest an election against the incumbent. But what is important is that regardless of where they come from, whether it's CCM or Labour or New Labour or whatever the key point is, you can call it what you will. What came out was that there was a feeling that a united group would be important. And I make the point, united group rather than a unity party would be important to oppose the incumbent.
Nobody wanted a party. They wanted a unity group, according to pollster Don Anderson. So what Brantley has said is nothing but a pretense by the snake, a pretense of love for and forgiveness of a party that he fought against for all his political career, the Labour Party. Nothing but pretense for love and forgiveness of this party.
In my own country, I've spent a political career fighting against the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party and its wholly owned subsidiary in Nevis, the Nevis Reformation Party.
His whole political career he spent fighting Labour. For that reason, the recent remarks coming from Mark Brantley cannot break through the barriers of any remorse, if that's what it is, because he currently continues to progressively sink deeper by the day into a mental, physical, and political decline. Remember, this was the same snake that started this insidious attempt at the personal destruction of former Prime Minister Denzel Douglas. And I believed him, when he told the parliament and the country an apparent lie about the member from St. Christopher, number 6. He said this, my straight dog family.
They say a passenger traveling outbound from Gatwick to Dubai on Emirates EK010 was detained with a large amount of cash. The passenger did not declare the cash. They ended up with a total of 78,000 US in cash, 9,000 pounds in cash, and 2,000 EC. Mr. Speaker, I have not been known to come in this house with foolishness, I don't practice that. This money was seized at Gatwick Airport under the provisions of the Proceeds of Crime Act. They said the passenger with the cash was identified through his passport as Mr. Denzel Llewellyn Douglas.
And I believed him. But you know what was interesting, my straight dog family? The Right Honorable Denzel Douglas went to meet the king just a few months ago. Was it? A few months ago, I think, yes. And while the Right Honorable Privy Council member stepped in to meet the king, the snake Mark Brantley was put in a holding area. But this snake, Mark Brantley, always speaks about his Vicky of blessed memory. Yet he has shown disdain for notable women in St. Kitts-Nevis who have been successful in government and politics. One of them is our current Governor General, Dame Marcella Liebert, and he said this about her.
It is not my fault that nobody has ever accused the member from number 2 of being bright. It is not my fault, Mr. Speaker. If she has never been accused of being bright, that is not my problem. This is an argument which I feel is a nonsensical argument.
And you know, my straight dog family, his attack on another woman who served in the Nibijan public service with distinction is also unpardonable. He said this about the good doctor.
The kinds of pronouncements that Dr. Bartlett comes up with. I mean, I know she's a vet, and so she has spent a lot of years not having to communicate with humans. So I don't know if that has affected her ability now that she's seeking to communicate with human beings. Right? Because, dogs and cats, I suppose, they communicate with her in a different way. I don't know. But those skill sets you can't necessarily take now and apply to humans. You're now talking to humans. And humans have a brain and they're going to ask questions. Like, well, why you say that? And what you mean by that? And how come you just discover certain things?
And my straight dog family, if you think that was bad, the snake Mark Brantley attacked another successful woman who is still loved and revered in Nevis, and one who even served with efficiency and effectiveness, I am told, in his own cabinet. And this verbal ambush of a former colleague was offensive, unacceptable, and my straight talk family went beyond the pale, as we put it in colloquial parlance, my straight dog family.
I went to an event today, and I looked around and I saw a particular lady. And the lady used to be a good-looking lady. And I say used to be because she faced so vexed that the good look she used to have looked like they disappeared. And I said to my colleague who was there with me, I said, Lord, watch this woman's face. Face twists up, like you need an iron to iron out she face, how she face twists up. But face, when I tell you twist up, you need one of them old goose. Because that they can't iron out with regular iron. You need a goose to press out she face.
But my straight dog family, Mark Brantley, for some time now, for literally all his time in politics, has displayed a narcissistic personality disorder, as if he has a mental health condition. So he flaunts an unreasonably high sense of his own importance. Prior to the 2022 federal elections, for example, or is it 2020, while in Barbados, Mark Brantley sent out a veiled threat when he suggested that something unpleasant will happen after that election, when he publicly stated that the Concerns Citizen Movement, the CCM, will have the role of kingmaker. Remember this, my Stray Dog family?
Let me be clear. This party, the Concerned Citizens Movement, has been and shall remain firmly in the role of kingmaker. For all who have ears to hear, let them hear.
But my Stray Dog family, this snake Mark Brantley reminds us of the singer, or reminds me of the singer, Engelbert Humperdinck, who sang this ballad, The Last Waltz. I almost want to sing it for you. And the lyrics goes something like this: I'll have the last waltz with you. The last waltz with you. Two lonely people together. And my Stray Dog family, it was about the first and the last dances with the woman he loves. The first dance was the last waltz, played at the party where the two met. And the final dance signified the end of their relationship after their romance had cooled down. And Mark Brantley and Terence Michael Drew both need and seek attention and want people to admire them. If you examine both of them, you'll come to that conclusion. Both seem to have a similar disorder, and the two of them lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others, and in particular the poor people in our country. Therefore, the road to a sustainable island state can never lead through Nevis, especially with the rationale that was advanced by Mark Brantley. First of all, there's a clear misunderstanding between the players across the Narrows. The so-called engineer, my Stray Dog family, Congress Maynard, for example, said that we would get geothermal by 2025. He said this, my Stray Dog family.
In 2025 is when you would look forward to the geothermal coming on stream. One of the things we want to do, I didn't mention earlier, that's very going to be critical for Skellig, is making St. Kitts and Nevis one grid, where we will connect the grid of Nevis to the grid of St. Kitts, such that any renewable energy power or any type of power developed on either country can be shared with the other. Either island can be shared with the other island.
I can hear your long swoops. But my Stray Dog family, this proposition about geothermal coming on stream in 2025 reveals his disconnect, or total disconnect, I should say, with the reality of this risk being undertaken and the legacy issues that come along with it. The snake Mark Brantley spoke about some of the issues regarding the production well drilling. My Stray Dog family, believe it or not, he said this.
Having had US $17 million approved by the Caribbean Development Bank for this project, on December 9th, 2022, I had hoped to be able to report today a completion of the production well drilling phase. Unfortunately, the project has again experienced delays due to a funding gap of roughly $20 million and a failure of the initial round of bidding for the production well drilling.
Imagine that, my Stray Dog family. But I'm not surprised, are you? Because Mark Brantley cannot spend money. Remember, he received $8 million from Timothy Harris. And he said that St. Kitts never supported geothermal in Nevis. And he got $8 million from Timothy Harris. And he confessed that he did. I put it to the nearest. He said he got this.
Unity took office in 2015. We got a geothermal project, 7.7 million.
But you see, my straight dog family, he never reported about what he did with the 7.7 million. Put it to the nearest, said 8 million. But you heard him for yourselves tonight. He since got US $17 million from the Caribbean Development Bank on December the 9th, 2022. A whole year ago, 1 whole year ago. He said he had hoped to report the completion of the production well drilling phase 1 year after. But unfortunately, he said, the project has again experienced delays due to a funding gap of roughly 20 million US dollars. And the failure of the initial round of bidding for the production well drilling. But if Mark Brantley doesn't have the money, how on earth can the NIA complete the bidding process? And he continues to lie about the cost of the project when the IDB and others have said that it is not a bankable project. I also showed you the excerpt from the IMF Article 4 report on February or March 2023. And I must share it with you one more time, my Straight Dog family. Read it for yourselves. Read section 4. Go straight to section 4. You can read the other part in your spare time. And I trust you would have researched that IMF Article 4 report. It's very important, my Straight Dog family. And a lot of things will come out in the budget whenever Terence Drew presents it to the Parliament. But section 4 reads, and I quote, the estimated cost of the first phase are 150 million US dollars. That's $435 million, my Straight Dog family. And it gives a breakdown. US $30 million for drilling, $60 million for geothermal plant, and US $50 million for transmission. And my Straight Dog family, it goes on. The authorities received contingency renewable grant for the CDB. And what it means by a contingency renewable grant is that once the resource is established, the grant automatically turns into a loan. So the $17 million, we know it's a loan, 17 million US dollars. That's what's it now? That's about 45 million EC dollars. And he said he was short of the money. But the report also goes on, read it. And are exploring funding with other regional and multinational sources. You took Mark Brantley's PS, remember, to speak to the Sheikh in Saudi Arabia, his Muslim friend, accused of killing a journalist or masterminding the assassination of a journalist. But he says private funding could also be explored by encouraging investment through regulatory incentives and channeling CBI revenue. You think that Terence Joe wants to give up that CBI revenue? So do not be fooled about this geothermal project, especially with that snake Mark Brantley at the helm. And we know he never completes any project as he cannot spend money. My Straight Dog family, I would like to be optimistic, but I am realistic. Because the road to a sustainable island state cannot be led by geothermal development on Nevis, which, if it comes, it won't be here in the next 10 years. And with all these legacy issues, it may be extended to another 10 years. I propose a bridge linking St. Kitts and Nevis as a number one priority. Furthermore, I am going to repeat, with no attempt at upsetting anyone in the Straight Talk family, that the road to a sustainable island state cannot be with the Republic of China and Taiwan. And that's just a view. And let us not get emotional, because I raise the possibility and source of funding for such an important project that would provide a physical permanence that can only redound to the benefit of both islands of St. Kitts and Nevis. I also gave practical examples, but some equated the changing of alliance to ungratefulness. One person said that accepting a grant of $100 million is like selling our independence. Thus I ask the question, accepting a grant from the Republic of China and Taiwan of US $3.5 million per year, is that selling our independence as well? And if so, it means that St. Kitts Nevis has sold its independence for 40 years at a meager cost of $140 million US. Thus, I am not speaking from an emotional perspective, but this has nothing to do with ungratefulness or how long we have had diplomatic relations with the Republic of China and Taiwan. My opinion, to which I am entitled, is based on geopolitical reality and facts. And mark you, not Brantley, you are also entitled to your opinion. And that is why I host Straight Talk, a forum where we can exchange ideas, where ideas contend, where we promote a diversity in opinions, because we are different people. And I always accept that we can agree. I always accept that we can disagree. But we must never become disagreeable. The discussion about the People's Republic of China reminded me, my Straight Dog family, of the construction of the Pogson Hospital at Sandy Point. I think it was in 2007, back on the Labour. As are we aware that with a loan from the World Bank, this construction of that hospital was undertaken by a Chinese company with much protest, I recall, from the community of Sandy Point and beyond. Remember this hospital? It was constructed by a Chinese firm, my Straight Dog family. But that being aside, my Straight Dog family, I believe that we must first understand that the goals of bilateral agreements, be they diplomatic, trade, or others, are to expand access between two countries. Just recently, we heard the Prime Minister boast about visa-free access to Saudi Arabia. We don't have much to export as a country, but in the context of trade, we get access to markets and thereby can increase our economic growth. In the uneven bilateral relations that characterize many diplomatic relationships between nations of unequal size and power, the common motivations of the larger or the instigator and smaller or the recipient states inform our understanding of the shifting geopolitical landscape of heritage patronage and financing. Let's be real. Why is it ungrateful to ask citizens whether it is now time for a diplomatic reset after 40 years as an independent nation? The practice of diplomacy is about dialogue, be it formal or informal, off the record or even casual. And some of that leads to negotiations, culminating in agreements that may be tacit, they may be understood, or formalized in documents that bear different names, such as exchanges of letters, protocols, accords, and treaties. And it is usually a continuing process. Let's be real, my Straight Talk family. Out of 193 United Nations members, only 12 support the Republic of China and Taiwan. And I'm not attacking this country, but I'm just bringing the facts so we can understand. See the 12 countries that support the ROCT, my Straight Talk family. The public or the People's Republic of China's engagement in the Caribbean is broad-based, including an array of investments and commercial projects, political engagement, people-to-people interaction, and security engagement. In tourism, for example, the PRC has made a number of significant equity investments, including Hilton and Marriott hotel properties across the region, as well as a major signature project like the $4.2 billion Bajamar Resort in the Bahamas. I've been there. And those investments also include some projects like lesser-known Chinese investor groups, including many in the Citizenship for Investment Program countries, such as St. Lucia, Grenada, Antigua and Barbuda, and right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Chinese investor groups have invested in these hotels. The People's Republic of China investor groups are also behind other port projects, such as a new $100 million deep water port development in Antigua and Barbuda. Chinese construction companies, such as China Harbor Engineering Company, China Construction Americas, and China Civil Engineering Construction Company, have come to dominate major infrastructure projects right here in the region. And these are the facts. We cannot bury our heads in the sand. They are facts. The PRC arguably has particularly strong relations with and commercial influence in Jamaica, Barbados, Dominica, Grenada, and Antigua Barbuda, among others. One manifestation of this influence has been the PRC's enclave projects, such as the massive 2,000-acre Yida development in Antigua and Barbuda, where Chinese construction companies, CCECC, chose to locate its regional headquarters in 2020, 2 years ago. The project contemplates establishment of a special economic zone, giving tax exemptions and other special legal rights to Chinese investors, and encompassing the creation of factories, luxury houses, resorts, a medical university, a financial center, port facilities, and highways across a large geography encompassing a significant portion of the island of Antigua. Such an enclave project like the one in Antigua and Barbuda is a large production-oriented investment project that will import a sophisticated production system into the Antigua and Barbuda economy, operate with a high degree of autonomy, and export the produced goods out of Antigua and Barbuda, thereby creating jobs and generating foreign exchange. We cannot bury our heads in the sand. Sparrow sang a song, 50 million Frenchmen can't be wrong. So are you telling me that it is a fallacy that Roosevelt's Carrot of Dominica, Mitchell of Grenada, Andrew Holness of Jamaica, Keith Rowley of Trinidad and Tobago, Mia Motley of Barbados, Ifan Ali of Guyana, Gaston Brown of Antigua and Barbuda, Philip Davis of the Bahamas, Philip Peer of St. Lucia, have all these CARICOM leaders got it wrong? They are all in alliance or have diplomatic relations with China. As a small island developing state, SIDS, St. Kitts Nevis has specific interests that can only be furthered through international diplomacy. We have to depend on multilateral institutions to survive as a sovereign state, beg your pardon. But let us be the first to admit that our capacity to engage and achieve national goals through international organizations is extremely limited. So let me be frank as usual. My research tells me that by some measures, China is the world's largest source of development funding, despite remaining a significant recipient of the World Bank funds and one of the 10 debtors to the bank. But not only does it win far more procurement than any other country, it also continues to take about $2 billion per year in World Bank loans to its government and private firms. I said a lot about the People's Republic of China, but I had to bring you the facts without prescribing any diplomatic medicines for the economic ills that we are going to continue to suffer in this country of ours called St. Kitts and Nevis. What I'm saying to you tonight, my straight dog family, with geopolitics undermining development in small island development states like ours, stronger alliances are needed more than ever. Not with the snake Mark Brantley, maybe not with the Republic of China and Taiwan, but we must look at physical permanence and next our constitutional permanence. Why do we need a 113 clause when we boast of 2 islands, 1 paradise? There's a growing understanding that the deepening crises facing the world come from the trends in our societies and economies that are becoming unsustainable. St. Kitts Nevis must therefore tackle our basic structural problems at their source. It is also clear that there is now a new and feasible approach to development across the world, which is one big village, and COVID-19 taught us, each of us, that tough lesson. The global village in which we live is much more attractive today than the dirty and destructive parts of the past. But St. Kitts Nevis must invest and act quickly to get there. St. Kitts Nevis, as part of the global village, as part of this global village, my straight dog family, we can never get there with a snake like Mark Brantley. Never, my people. The wars and hardening geopolitical divisions we are witnessing demand a big push on investments and innovation that requires credible and supportive policy and governance that can create confidence in any future returns. It is for all these reasons I have advanced my Straight Talk family that have convinced me that the road to a sustainable island state cannot lead through Brantley-Nevis. That's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I am not going to change it. I will open the lines nonetheless, and now entertain your calls and your emails. But before I do, and I'll do so in a few moments, a few seconds to be exact, I always like to implore you that we should respect others. And of course, to achieve that, we must first respect ourselves. And in the process, we must try to say and do those things that are beneficial to all concerned. And my Straight Talk family, in doing and saying those things, let us in the process strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. It's 9 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. I go straight to the lines and say good night to this
good night.
Good night, my Straight Talk family. The Bible man seemed to be opening the button in recent times. Don't mind nonetheless, because you bring that spiritual twist to the program, and I trust you do the same tonight with your Bible verses.
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
I had to come in here, Mr. Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems like that people are forgetting God. And when you forget the Lord, in the Bible says, when the nation forgot God, when a nation forgot God, you know what can happen to it? I mean, I have to tell you. So I am saying it tonight, my dear. When a nation being blessed of God, a lot of things happen. And as the word of God said, look with in the Bible, when the wicked rule the nation, and when the righteous rule the nation, rejoice. And so, my dear, tonight, I want to say to you that every time I come on this radio program, I am really entirely to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. My dear, you could give the whole world, and when the time comes, you lose your soul. You say, what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul?
Yes.
So, God is saying, come. The Lord is saying to you, come. And the word of God said, nay, in all these things, we are more than conquerors to them that love us. Mr. Patel, the Lord is a cool, good God.
Yes, all the time.
It is a mercy of God that we are not consumed because the compassion faileth not. Brother, I was going on, God that's looking on. And when the time comes, I am going to say, and this is my last. And when judgment the morning, nobody could bring no magistrate.
No witness.
Nobody could bring no judge. Because the judge himself, they were what help themselves. And I'm saying to you, Mr. Patrick, James chapter 5. Who got time? Read James chapter 5. Because all who are put up for the last day, he gonna come against them. Mr. Patrick, have a pleasant night. And we thank you. And the word, the last thing I'm going to say, Mr. Patrick. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord. Please. For his good. His mercy endures forever. Have a pleasant night, Mr. Patrick. Thank you.
Have a pleasant night as well. That's the Bible man. And just before I forget, I just want to remind you as a public service announcement that this coming Sunday, that's December 10, the 30th anniversary, or rather, former Prime Minister Timothy Harris will be celebrating his 30th anniversary in a commemorative church service, my Straight Dog family, at the House of Deliverance, New Testament Church of God, and it starts at 9 a.m. That's pretty early, but Sunday coming, you celebrate with former Prime Minister Honorable Timothy Harris. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good night. Good night, Punches. It's a long time.
Yes, it is. How art thou?
I am humble and peaceful. Also,
you shall be exalted.
I will like you to interact with me.
Mm-hmm.
In respect to the geothermal in Nevis. I am wondering if the people who are listening hear about the geothermal, if they understand it, if they understand what it's all about. I had sent you some literatures on an actual plant some time ago.
You did?
And in my view, and what I read, geothermal is good for places that have volcanoes because it's something to do with the heat in the Earth's crust. And however that's going to be turned into steam that will drive turbines, just like hydro. Now, St. Kitts and Nevis have volcanoes. And Nevis have the actual stream, the bad stream that give off that heat that have connection with the volcano. Now, in St. Kitts, both St. Kitts and Nevis could have geothermal instead of just Nevis have geothermal.
That is true.
So, when you're saying Nevis, why not say St. Kitts and have two plants, one in St. Kitts and one in Nevis? And if we're going to export or sell energy to other countries, we both can do it, and more is more. Because we have the volcano Mount Misery, and Nevis have Nevis Peak. So I think that project should go through, which could even lower the cost of energy in the Federation, and both capitalize from that project. And is it so expensive to have geothermal in both countries, especially if it's focused more on Nevis. I think both should have it. Once you could get it, take it. Because we got to look at the future of the new generation of people who will be coming in. We have to make it easy for them. So I think we both should have geothermal. And it's not a difficult project. Okay? It's just the same thing like going back when we used to have lots of rainfall on College Street Gut. College Street Gut could have been a hydro plant. And once you capture a load of water to turn the turbines to give the amount of megawatts, what goes around comes around. So geothermal could be, and hydro electricity could be anywhere, especially hydro. But I will more go for the geothermal because at least we have volcanoes, which is the source of energy, and however we want to configure it, we do that. Resources in St. Kitts to make life easy. But are we going to use it? Are they going to use it? Or not? We got to stop all these nyappa, and get to the drawing board and move forward. I mean, if I say anything wrong that is contradicting, I will stand for correction if you may interject.
No, you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, my brother. You're right on point. Don't worry. You're right on point. Thank you for your intervention. Only just to add that we did, in fact, some time ago, in 2016 or somewhere thereabout, did the 3G studies, they're called, the geological, geophysical, and the geochemical studies here in St. Kitts. And that source was proven here in St. Kitts, just like in Nevis, contrary to what the snake would like to tell us. And back then, there was no move to retard the progress on Nevis, because the snake Mark Brantley himself committed or confessed that he got some $8 million from Harris, the then Prime Minister. But he never gave a report on what or how this $8 million was spent. We know that a lot of monies went into legal fees. We don't know if it was his firm that did the legal work. But the issues that always come up, I mean, if you speak to the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB or CDB, the issue that comes up all the time is whether these projects, whether in St. Kitts and or Nevis, are bankable. When you look at the economies of scale, in Nevis you only generate you only require or demand some 9 megawatts at a peak period in Nevis, and 27 or 28 megawatts in St. Kitts. So that is why the talk about exporting comes up. But what discussions have there been with Antigua, saying that you can automatically sell to Antigua or sell to St. Martin or sell elsewhere? And these, what I call interconnectivity unknowns, are only just that, unknowns. So you are correct, but the issues that come with that is the bankability of these projects. Caller, thank you for holding. You're live.
Yeah, okay. Good night, Patrice.
Oh, that's you, I got holding. Good night, my brother.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night. Good night, my brother.
Okay, I know you're good. Everything is good.
I am peaceful. What about yourself?
Well, I'm good too. I'm good. Mama Shot could get geothermal too from the volcano mountain.
There was a plan for that. I know there were some discussions in Montserrat. I don't know how far they reached.
Well, I may not get a second call in, so therefore let me belch all that I have to belch. Good night, brother. Straight talk, Nabu, and slide wine, and even Mr. Welcome who just done, and all who does call into your program, and all who are listening to this program. Patches, I love your style, and a lot of people like it, because when you talk, you always have the facts of the individual who you're speaking about with your own voice saying what you say, so nobody could say you're fabricating nothing. Now, the people of Nevis, I am telling you, look out for new heavy taxes coming on. You hear what this snake say about flow and digital? He want to tell you all to spend you all a little bit of money what you all have it getting. But he forget that the money that he helped, he gave to the person to buy OTI, that money could have been used in Nevis to keep down a lot of the bills for the people of Nevis. But this camp who buy OTI, he more interested in that. So Nevis people do not forget what he do with that kind of money. Now let me come down here now, Patches. You know they're going to pass some kind of bills about integrity and good governance and transparency and all this kind of thing. Well, the biggest culprit is the man who take out the money for the nanny who was working with him and pay it in 3 batches to the Social Security. So he broke the first law. So therefore, when they done pass the bill in Parliament, I hope he will look at his first before he go lay down penalty for people. No, that is enough for that. That is this thing here, what we call this help that they're looking to get from China and want to ignore Taiwan. Taiwan is the country who has been helping the Federation since 1983. The amount of things around here that we get from Taiwan, and then we're going to just put Taiwan aside for China, who wants to...
Things like what? Things like what?
Well, the first thing they did here when they come here was the farm up here by Kim Collins.
How many farmers, or what has... I mean, I'm not being... I want to be factual. I'm sorry to interrupt you, right? But how many farmers have been produced? How is our agriculture improved since that mission has been here? Or is here?
Well, I can tell you something. I do not know by numbers, but every day you could hear a lot of people calling in on different talk shows. So they are doing agriculture.
But what they have benefited from the agricultural technical mission?
Well, I don't know what the benefit, but I know.
But sorry to interrupt you. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry about that. But I wanted to get a point in there.
Okay. Well, if someone help you when you are in need, not because somebody has come with a bigger offer, I don't think you should ignore the person who helped you first when you are in need, you know?
That's what diplomatic relationships are about, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's how it goes. I mean,
but I don't know if they notice it, you know. I don't know if they notice it. China is doing everything to see if they can go on top and rule the whole world. They are doing that. Because look around here, we can... Hey.
That's geopolitics as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so therefore, that's why we supposed to keep politicians' foot to the fire. Mm-hmm. When they travel, go abroad and come back, tell us what they receive and what they bring back to the country. Don't come back and give us no noise talks and no action. Because talks without works is what you call it, vanity and rubbish and garbage. And I am saying to this country here, this government here, please do what you are promised you are going to do just before the election to win the election. Up to now, we haven't seen anything done by you all. All you're saying on the radio that they break ground here, they break the ground, okay, they leave it break. They go on upside, they break ground for that, and they leave it break. So nothing completed, but every day they come with something. Every day. Anyway, Patrick, I will try and get back in with a little piece.
Okay.
So, thanks for now.
Thank you for your input, Straight Talk family. And the practice of diplomacy is about dialogue. You know, whether informal or formal, off the record, and it leads to negotiations. And no one is saying we should leave any country, but we are ought to look at the benefits that have been derived. And I keep saying, with the I mentioned earlier that Sparrow said that 50 million Frenchmen can't be wrong. So why all these CARICOM countries have gone that way and have benefited? I mentioned Antigua and Barbuda that are benefiting immensely. So why can't we discuss it? It's just a discussion. And to get sentimental and emotional about we've been there for 40 years, that's not an argument. That's not a defense. It's about the future. It's about sustainability. And we have to look at the present and protect our future generations. That's how it is, not to be my straight dog family. And that is just a view. At the end of the year, or as the end of the year approaches with this email, I've been wondering about the public actors who got shamed and blamed in 2023. I immediately thought about the Nanny Gate scandal and Garth Lucian Wilkin with this email. When and his comeuppance, why he tangled with you only showed his serious political immaturity. I've been following politics in our country for over 50 plus years, and never have I been a political career or have I seen a political career destroyed as quickly as A.G. Garth Lucian Wilkins. He and his kind are happy to be up and down the Federation, pretending to be holier than the Pope. But in the dark, they're busy doing absolute wickedness to the poor and defenseless people. Have you noticed how quiet he has gone after the brutal body blows you put on him at the beginning of the year? Reads this email. Good evening, sir. If the snake in Nevis could not even get bead to drill and find water for the people, how exactly is he going to drill, find and produce geothermal energy? Brantley is a colossal failure. The snake Brantley is only offering Drew the proverbial apple in the Garden of Eden to eat. The snake knows that Drew is a novice, a fool, and has no particular experience or expertise. The snake only hissing at Dr. Drew. Reads that email. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your line. Hello, caller.
Thank you, Patches. It's me again. Call it just like all second. If I may add also, now, if the premier in Nevis is bragging about the geothermal, should it be? I hope he's not bragging that the geothermal project in Nevis will have something over St. Kitts and the resources that generate, should that happen. I'm going to say should because it's not in existence right now, but it's possible. I think we should take that bragging out. And I hope he would not even go in there. So I am on the foresight. Okay? Now, for all these money that the country is spending, doing unnecessary things, and in my view, I believe when the ministers travel abroad to different countries to learn things, they are not bringing back any substance to the country to share with the country. It's like if a deal they were looking at went bad, they still should let the Federation know what went on, and that's not transparency. Transparency, we like to know you succeed, but if you fail, we still like to know, and then you find another way to go at it. But all these monies that generated from different programs, CBI, taxes in the country, I will like we to use our resources that generate in our projects. But if you need help, yes, market for help. Be proactive. because it's all about all of us, not just one person. And it seems like all these investors that coming into the country, it's like a quid pro quo. Ain't nothing for nothing. We don't want no foreigners hold our country hostage because you may lend us money to do something. And to me, that's the way it's going. I mean, I am hitting Saudi Arabia because if Saudi Arabia were to grant St. Kitts and Nevis money to do a project, what will be the deal? Because we don't want Saudi Arabia to have nothing over us neither. Okay? Help is help. Yes, you can help the lesser developed countries, but it seems like something. I smell fish with Saudi Arabia, and it stinks. I wish we could go back to a drawing board and think over all our expenses and our intake, and we can do a lot of things for ourselves without borrowing. That is my belief, because we have the capability to generate funds to help all of us in the country. When I'm saying all of us, all nationals, all Kittitians and individuals, whether you are foreign or abroad. That is my view in respect to that. Okay. And I will come next Monday, should God allow me to live. Thank you for your time.
Okay, have yourself a wonderful weekend and happy listening, my brother. Thanks for your intervention as well. And I don't think anyone would disagree that ministers ought to report to the country. It happens in other countries. I think of New Zealand, I think they publish in the media. And we ought to know what has derived, what benefits have derived for the country, especially after all these trips abroad. The team that will build the bridge to Nevis will win the election with this email. This other email reads, questions related to the Sustainable Island State Initiative. 5 months ago, Dr. Thru talked about making St. Kitts and Nevis a sustainable island state after attending the EU-CELAC summit. Has the Labour government since released specific plans for sustainable growing the country's key economic sectors? Reads that email. That's a good question. But let's go back to the lines. I'll get back to that. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, I want to talk about it.
You have your equipment on in the background, sir?
Yeah, I want to talk about it.
Yeah, but turn your equipment down. Move away from it.
Yeah.
Are you there?
Okay, now. Yeah, I'm there.
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. Now.
You just turn your equipment down, listen to the telephone, and I'll move away from your equipment.
Yes, I'm here. Good night.
Caller.
Yes.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
I'm getting a terrible feedback from you and an echo in your telephone because you're sitting next to your equipment, and you just need to move away.
I'm away from it right
Please,
now.
don't listen to just listen to the telephone. You'll hear whatever you say and whatever I say. I want the whole world to hear you. You are live on Straight Talk. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm talking now about the geothermal.
Yes, go right ahead, sir.
Now, thinking about the geothermal, I think it isn't a wise thing for us. Why? Is because when it's being prepared, we will be facing disasters because it's going to rise up causes like earthquake, tidal wave, because we are in the tropics. And being in the tropics, you find that it's going to be more than heated, and it will change the plate, we'll have problem with the plate. So I'm thinking that it's not a wise thing.
Oh, it's not a wise thing. Okay, you said wise, yeah. Okay.
No, not for us
Right.
in
right.
the Caribbean, because we have so much heat already, and then drawing the energy from the ground. That is where it's going to make a disturbance to cause earthquake. And having earthquake, then we may lead on to tidal wave. So I don't think that geothermal is a wise way to go.
Are you aware that there's? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Are you aware that there's geothermal in Guadeloupe?
I don't mind if it's in Guadeloupe because it hasn't come for things to happen yet.
It's been there since the 1980s. The Bouillon plant.
Yeah, it might be there, but then you got to realize if you check around the Caribbean, we start having earthquakes these times.
Okay.
And that is because, many, not just Guadeloupe, but many more places are going out now into geothermal. And once we start pulling that energy from the ground, then there is which part we will have these earthquake forming or tidal waves. Because we're taking the energy from the ground. It's like blowing out a balloon, which is full of oxygen. And when you release the oxygen, the balloon fade away.
Okay. I've heard that before, right? I've heard that before. I'm a little bit at variance, though, but you're entitled to that view. But geothermal, it's developed in many parts of the world, and
but even in cold countries, and they're having tremors themselves. They themselves have earthquake.
Okay. Well, I take your point. I don't have the information, scientific and otherwise, to dispute that, but I just have to accept what you said. Respect what you said, rather. Well, that's.
Well, I'd like you to do some research.
Okay, I will, but like I said, I went to a geothermal plant in Guadeloupe, the Bouillon plant, I think it's called, and when I saw that, it was right next to the sea. Though that's the only difference. It was right next to the sea. I don't know if that makes a difference, but so you had the cooling process. Very good. But that's your point, and I take it so.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your input. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Patches, greetings to you. How are you?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
I'm very good. Could you continue with such topic tonight? And the road to sustainable island state cannot be led by Brantley-Nevis. Mm-hmm. And a very good, touching topic. Because you see, Mr. Brantley is not a newcomer to politics. I think it's. And I'm sure over the years, when he had introduced himself to the Federation on a whole, his racial percentage was very high. And I'm sure if you take a racial percentage of his popularity in the Federation, I don't think it will be the same. Because you see, everyone has a record. And 2015, remember the people wanted a unity government.
Yep.
And even though the people wanted a unity government, and those who are part of the unity government dismantled the government, including Mark, he didn't show the strength where he could hold the government together, seeing that he had a different view from the leadership that was there, or to show some kind of different example than the leader that was there, to show that he can hold the government that the people said they wanted together. Instead that, he felt it was best to help dismantle it. So in the term, he ain't really show no record about management. Because until today, I mean, look at Nevis. Under his watch, government workers, the funds to go to Social Security is not being going there.
Yep.
And it's very strange that a government could have people employed, but yet still they are, let's say, disenfranchised. What should be really going their way. Even you find when he should be talking on behalf of the people, he's not doing so right now. He's on a different level. So the trust concerning Mark is not there to the fullness. Not only that, the people of Nevis trusted him and gave him 2 more seats in the unity administration. So he had 3 seats. And he ended up got turned away. He got dismissed from the government. Imagine a man like Brantley, so eloquent with his words, and he couldn't find himself holding a government together with the ability that he has. And I find it very terrifying. So I don't think it should depend on Nevis in the way with the leadership that they have presently. And that's my view as a citizen. You continue to be strong and continue to be healthy. God bless.
God bless you as well. I do wish you the same. I like your words, strong words, terrifying, you know. And he also made mention of the fact that it was the people, not the parties, not the politicians. It was the people that said they wanted unity. And the people still want unity. But it comes down to a question of trust. You know, do you trust any of the current politicians now to hold a unity government ever together again? The opposition member in the National Assembly from Nevis, Alexis Jeffers, and former CCM Deputy Premier in the NIA, caused embarrassment to himself, Nevis, and the world at large. The recent town hall meeting held in Nevis in respect of the airport expansion. Alexis Jeffers did not know the definition and meaning of the word deliverables. What a burning shame and an embarrassment it was when the leader of the NRP asked Mr. Jeffers, what will be the deliverables from this airport development project for Nevis? The former Deputy Premier Jeffers replied, backhoes and trucks. Well, I wonder if the Mark Brantley would ever tell the Federation that his former Deputy Premier and current advisor was never being accused by anyone of being bright. Reads that email. This other email reads, Mr. Liburn, I listened to an absorbing conversation yesterday on WinFM with Dwyer and a farmer, and I had to laugh with the lies perpetuated by Dwyer. The farmer was in the studio and expressing his disappointment with the government policy on agriculture. Whatever reference he made to Dwyer and agriculture during his tenure as a minister was not pleasing to him, so he called into the station. Dwyer's first lie was when someone just called him and told him that your guest said something about me and agriculture, and went on to say that he was not the Minister of Agriculture. It was Harris, And as the Minister of Tourism, he proposed a plan for upgrading agriculture. But it was rejected. And as usual, purporting to blame Harris. However, the farmer counted Lion Dwyer and gave him sand for sugar. The farmer frankly told him that he was in government at the time and never once raised his voice in Parliament in support of the farmer's plight. So what foolishness now is calling to say, said the farmer. Caller, thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Patches, I promised I wasn't going to call in again, but
Yeah.
I am standing for correction to this gentleman who called about he against geothermal.
Well, it's
let me just
it's his view.
yeah. I'm not going against his view. That's what he
Okay.
believes.
No, but okay.
I will go as far as saying this. I'm speaking to the whole world, not just that caller. But for your information, if you have a stove and you could put a pot on and let it hot without any water, the pot will create a tremendous amount of heat. Now, if you pour water into that pot, you will get abundance of steam. So use the pot as the earth crust, where that natural heat is, because the whole planet Earth is on a ring of fire. Okay? They are going to use steam from the heat from the earth crust, and that is just a fraction of the Earth's energy to create geothermal. So to talk about tidal wave, because the tectonic plate will be moving because we are disturbing we are trying the balance of the heat from the earth off balance to create tidal wave. It will not happen because a geothermal is just heat and steam. Think about a steam engine. Think about when there were automobile was powered from steam. It's the same principle, but you're using the natural heat. You're not using coals, you're not using fossil fuel. The natural heat creates steam because water has to be poured into that heat to create steam that will have that amount of pressure, like a pressure cooker. Focus on turbines that will generate electricity, rotation. So don't worry about tidal wave or the tectonic plate will be moved because of you're disturbing the heat crust. And it's a good relief for the earth. That's why volcanoes explode. Because the heat is so hot that there is no release. The heat is trying to release from the earth to give a balance to keep the tectonic plate in place. So that is good, my brother. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your intervention and your clarification as well. Good evening, Mr. Libert. Reads this email. Blessings and greetings to you and the Straight Talk family. I hope you're remaining peaceful. Yes, certainly I am. Thanks very much for enlightening us on the affairs of the state. My concern tonight surrounds the inability of the St. Kitts-Nevis Labour Party government to create jobs and improve the lives of our citizens. Everything in St. Kitts is expensive. Ministers are joyriding and nothing to show for these trips. There's a saying, people get to government or get the government they deserve. As long as there's overseas voting and vote buying, the current government will be in power, reads this email. This other email reads, Mr. Libert, I listened to an absorbing conversation yesterday. I think I just read that. I apologize, my Straight Talk family. Don't St. Kitts has a volcano? Why don't St. Kitts develop its geothermal energy? Nevis getting ready to run St. Kitts at gunpoint, reads this email. This other email reads, Democracy in Nevis has gone to the dogs under the leadership of Mark Brantley, the Premier. How can it be democratic when the chairman of the Public Integrity Commission in Nevis is living as a tenant in a snake's house? How democratic it can be when the Speaker or President of the Nevis Parliament is a lawyer and working in the law firm of Premier Brantley. This is absolute conflict of interest. So on Tuesday, in Parliament, the leader of the NRP, Mrs. Janice Daniel Hodge, in her response to the Premier's budget address, made reference to the letter that Brantley was touting throughout the world, that he said he could not get it from Harris to start geothermal in Nevis. But as Thru became the Prime Minister, he gave the signed letter to him. However, when Janice told the House that the Premier was lying about the letter and Harris was given factual information to prove the Premier was lying, the Premier rose on a point of order and asked the Speaker to have her withdraw the statement because she did not have a copy of the letter. So, she can't speak to that. And the inexperienced Speaker had to do what Brantley said. Democracy has gone a-begging in Nevis. And folks, my straight out family, as that was mentioned, we may have the former Prime Minister Harris on Straight Talk this coming Monday. And we will reconfirm that pretty early Monday morning. But tell the world, tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell your family that the former Prime Minister, Timothy Sylvester Harris, will be on Straight Talk this coming Monday. That's some information I want to share with you tonight. But let's go back to the lines. Caller, I'm sorry I had you holding for some time. Forgive me.
You like to hold me. You like to hold me.
I know.
Yeah, Patrick.
I know you'll.
You like to hold me.
I know you'll pay your electricity bill before you pay the phone bill. Yeah.
No, okay. Let me start with the snake first. Patrick, the snake does not have a good character to be a leader of any country. Number one, he do not respect man, neither woman. Because when you look at what he said about those two ladies in Nevis, it is not nice for a leader to look down on people and talk down on people like that. And the only thing that man has for Nevis is when he travel, go abroad, he go ride bike with you and take picture and show the people in Nevis that he could go up on bike. And whenever they gone to with the last time they gone to with this the global thing.
Saudi Arabia.
Right, yeah, Saudi Arabia.
No, Saudi. No, sorry, Dubai, sorry.
Okay, Dubai.
Sorry about that.
The only thing now he got to show the people of Nevis, and Drew got to show the people of St. Kitts, is that they're going to drink camel milk. When doctors are going to tell the people in St. Kitts, if you cannot afford to buy Carnation, buy another inferior milk, which we are accustomed to. So they're going to drink the richest milk in the world. Now, they're saying that we got visa-free opportunity to go to Egypt. What do we have to give to Egypt?
To Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, what do we have to give to them? That is the only thing we have here in St. Kitts and Nevis to give to them is monkey and mosquito, because the countries are overpopulated with monkey and mosquito. That's the only thing we will have to exchange with Saudi Arabia. Now let me come home here to Mr. Perfect. Never do nothing wrong in his life. And when he was in the Douglas administration, he did everything right. So he's the earthly God. I have heard him said many times that a lot of streets and places in St. Kitts need to be named after people in St. Kitts. I ain't disputing that. I agree with that. But there's something in the Bible say, we move not the old landmark. And in Matthew chapter 7 and verse 5, it speaks about the big beam in your eye and the mote in your brother's eye. Now, when he gonna say, and the way the tone in how he talk like he vexed with who put them there and whatnot. When he gonna say these streets supposed to be renamed, like Shaw Avenue, Forest Avenue, and other avenue, that we don't have those names here around now. Well, he forget what he did with Port Zante. He was the one who gave the name to Port Zante. And if you look in the telephone directory book, there is no title in that book named Zante. That is some kind of Italian name. Okay. That should have named of the Prime Minister who started the Port Zante. We know that the airport is named after Mr. Bradshaw, who did it. Well, why the name couldn't give it to a local, the Prime Minister who started Port Zante? So when some people pointing the finger at people and criticizing them, you got three pointing back to them. Well, Patches, I want to thank you very much. And please, Patches, when you play back the voices of those people, when they give kudos and thanks and praises to the former administration, and now they got a lot of nasty and bad things and lies to talk about the administration. When you play back those soundbites, people will see, well then, what a lawyer he is, and he was and all of that. So thank you, Patches. Keep on playing them, remind them, because I know who they spoke bad about. They don't like to hear it, and you're going to irritate them, and they're going to say, oh yeah, that's what you said about me, and now you want to come lap upon me? You come. Anyway, Patches, all the best. And people, Dr. Timothy Harris is going to have his press conference sometime next week. And please tune in and listen. That is if they don't cut off current, because I have a way to cut off current when the truth has been spoken. Like they did it to Patches, and they will do it to Dr. Harris.
It sounds like the PRO.
Thank you very much, Patches.
Thank you very much.
You have a good night. Watch your back.
Thanks a lot, my dear brother. Yes, that's the way we're going to end it tonight, my Straight Talk family. And just to remind you, in the event you tuned in late as we wrap for tonight, our thesis we examined tonight, and which we entitled which was very straightforward, The Road to a Sustainable Island State Cannot Lead Through Brantley-Nevis. Because, my Straight Dog family, I listened to the snake, Mark Brantley, and I was taken aback when he made these comments. He made these comments, my Straight Dog family.
Renewable energy, therefore, and geothermal energy in particular, means that Nevis and by extension St. can achieve energy security, water security, food security, and economic security. And I'm happy that Basti has finally recognized that the road to an sustainable island state leads through Nevis.
Imagine that. Happy that Basti finally recognized Nevis and by extension St. Kitts. That's the snake's language. But the sudden expectation or hope expressed by this snake, Mark Brantley, that the road to a sustainable island state will lead through a Brantley-Nevis is nothing short of being bombastic and founded, it seems, in his new love with an inexperienced Prime Minister, Dr. Thru. The sudden belief that something will happen since Thru signed a letter of guarantee for the CDB, then tabled a resolution in the St. Kitts Nevis Parliament declaring that the potential geothermal in Nevis is a national resource, thus becoming the panacea in the future that will present a solution or remedy for all the political, environmental, social, and economic difficulties that the country is facing. It is nothing but delusionment, if that's a good word to use. Delusionment in the face of the snake Mark Brantley's betrayal of his former leaders, Vance Winkworth Amory, may he rest in peace, and Timothy Harris. Also, the betrayal of his own people who clamored for unity. Lest we forget, and someone raised the point earlier, that the idea of assembling a unity government or unity group that will form a unity government came from the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. That did not come from any politician or any political party, my Straight Talk family. And the pollster, Don Anderson, told us about that. Let me remind you, my Straight Talk family.
Over the two polls that we did, one of the issues we looked at was how people felt about a group of politicians who might become united. What was clear from the outset was that there was a notion that unity was important to contest an election against the incumbent. But what is important is that regardless of where they come from, whether it's CCM or Labour or New Labour or whatever the key point is, you can call it what you will. What came out was that there was a feeling that a united group would be important. And I make the point united group rather than a unity party would be important to oppose the incumbent.
So, my Straight Dog family, it's nothing but a pretense. Nothing but a pretense. I trust that soundbite was beamed. But nothing but a pretense by the snake Mark Brantley of love for and forgiveness of a party that he fought against all his political career. He said that. He spent his political career fighting Labour.
In my own country, I've spent a political career fighting against the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party and its wholly owned subsidiary in Nevis, the Nevis Reformation Party.
But my Straight Talk family, it is for that reason. It is for that reason that the recent remarks coming from Mark Brantley cannot break through the barriers of any remorse, if that's what it is, because he has continued to progressively sink deeper by the day into a mental, physical, and political decline. Remember that it was this snake Brantley that started this insidious attempt at the personal destruction of former Prime Minister Denzil Douglas when he told the Parliament and the country an apparent lie about the member from St. Christopher, number 6.
They say a passenger traveling outbound from Gatwick to Dubai on Emirates EK010 was detained with a large amount of cash. The passenger did not declare the cash. They ended up with a total of 78,000 US in cash, 9,000 pounds in cash, and 2,000 EC. Mr. Speaker, I have not been known to come in this house with foolishness, I don't practice that. This money was seized at Gatwick Airport under the provisions of the Proceeds of Crime Act. They said the passenger with the cash was identified through his passport as Mr. Denzil Llewellyn Douglas.
And this snake, Mark Brantley, always speaks, as I said, about his Vicky of blessed memory. Yet he has shown disdain for notable women in St. Kitts Nevis who have been successful in government and politics. Remember this, my Straight Dog family?
It is not my fault that nobody has ever accused the member from number 2 of being bright. It is not my fault, Mr. Speaker. If she has never been accused of being bright, that is not my problem. This is an argument which I feel is a nonsensical argument.
He attacked another woman who served with distinction. Everybody would remember this as well.
The kinds of pronouncements that Dr. Bartlett comes up with. I mean, I know she's a vet, and so she has spent a lot of years not having to communicate with humans. So I don't know if that has affected her ability now that she's seeking to communicate with human beings, right? Because, you know, dogs and cats, I suppose, they communicate with her in a different way. I don't know. But those skill sets you can't necessarily take now and apply to humans. You're now talking to humans. And humans have a brain and they're going to ask questions like, well, why you say that? And what you mean by that? And how come you just discover certain things?
And the snake, Mark Brantley, attacked another successful woman who served Nevis with efficiency and effectiveness, even in his own cabinet. And this was the verbal abuse, or verbal ambush, I should say, of a former colleague of his when he said this, my straight dog family.
I went to an event today and I looked around and I saw a particular lady. And the lady used to be a good looking lady. And I say used to be because she faced so vexed that the good look she used to have looked like they've disappeared. And I said to my colleague who was there with me, I said, Lord, watch this woman's face. Face twists up like you need an iron to iron out she face, how she face twists up. But face, when I tell you twist up, you need one of them old goose. That they can't iron out with regular iron. You need a goose to press out she face.
Imagine that. But for some time now, this snake has displayed a narcissistic personality disorder, as if he has a mental health condition. So he flaunts an unreasonably high sense of his own importance. Remember, he warned us that he was going to be the kingmaker, my straight dog family. Remember he said this.
Let me be clear. This party, the Concerned Citizens Movement, has been and shall remain firmly in the role of kingmaker. For all who have ears to hear, let them hear.
But my straight dog family, it is his management, my straight dog family, his management of the people's money that has always caused concern. And the road to a sustainable island state can never lead to Nevis, especially with the rationale that was advanced by Mark Brantley. My straight dog family, there's a clear misunderstanding between the players across the Narrows. The so-called engineer promised that we will get geothermal in 2025. What was he thinking about when he said this?
In 2025 is when you would look forward to the geothermal coming on stream. One of the things we want to do, I didn't mention earlier, that's very going to be critical for Skellig, is making St. Kitts and Nevis one grid, where we will connect the grid of Nevis to the grid of St. Kitts, such that any renewable energy power or any type of power developed on either country can be shared with the other. Either island can be shared with the other island.
And you see, my straight dog family, the pronouncement from the so-called engineer Congress revealed his total disconnect with the reality of this risk being undertaken and the legacy issues that come along with it. Because the snake Mark Brantley spoke about some of the issues regarding the production well in Nevis, my straight dog family, and its drilling, is what he said.
Having had US $17 million approved by the Caribbean Development Bank for this project, on December 9th, 2022, I had hoped to be able to report today a completion of the production well drilling phase. Unfortunately, the project has again experienced delays due to a funding gap of roughly $20 million and a failure of the initial round of bidding for the production well drilling.
1 year, December the 9th, 2022, he's bragged and boasted about this letter from this that Thru sent to the CDB. But Mark Brantley cannot spend money. He received $8 million from Team Unity under Timothy Harris that he never gave an account for. And you heard him, my Straight Talk family. Since he got US $17 million from the CDB on December 9th, 2022, 1 whole year ago, he said he had hoped to report the completion of the production well drilling phase 1 year after that, he said, but unfortunately, the project has again experienced delays due to a funding gap of roughly US $20 million and a failure of the initial round of bidding for the production well drilling. But if Mark Brantley doesn't have the money, how can the NIA complete the bidding process? My Straight Talk family. But he continues to lie about the costs of the project when the IDB and the CDB and others have said that it is not a bankable project. The IMF implied that as well in the Article 4 assessment report. So do not be fooled, my Straight Talk family, about this geothermal project, because Mark Brantley is at the helm, and we know he never completes any project as he cannot spend money. My Straight Talk family, the road to a sustainable island state cannot be led by geothermal development on St. Kitts. And I mentioned as well, my Straight Talk family, what should be our priorities. And I am not speaking from an emotional perspective, never did. But my Straight Talk family, my opinion I advance about the ROCT and the PRC are based on the facts. But as I conclude, my Straight Talk family, as I conclude, we want to be real. Let's just be factual. And as we go forward, as a small island development state, St. Kitts-Nevis has specific interests that can only be furthered through international diplomacy, as I said. But let us be frank as usual, my Straight Talk family. It is also clear, it is also pellucid that what I said tonight was about geopolitics undermining development in small island development states like ours. And I suggested that stronger alliances are needed more than ever. Not with the snake Mark Brantley, maybe not with the ROCT, but we must look at physical permanence and next our constitutional permanence. Why do we need a 113 clause? After 141 years, our islands are together. 2 islands, 1 lovely paradise. There's a growing understanding that deepening crises facing the world come from trends in our societies and economies that are becoming unsustainable. St. Kitts-Nevis must therefore tackle our basic structural problems at their source. It is also clear that there is now a new and feasible approach to development across the world, which is one big village. And COVID-19 taught each of us that tough lesson. The global village in which we all live is much more attractive today than the dirty and destructive paths of the past. But St. Kitts-Nevis must invest and must act quickly to get there. St. Kitts Nevis is part of this global village. We can never get there with a snake like Mark Brantley. Never, my people. The wars and hardening geopolitical divisions we are witnessing demands a big push on investments and innovation that require credible and supportive policy and governance that can create confidence in any future returns. It is for all the reasons I have advanced my Straight Talk family that have convinced me that the road to a sustainable island state cannot lead through Brantley-Nevis. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. My Straight Talk family, I'll leave you with this email. Hi, good night, Mr. Live. The snake will never get Geothermal going. He loved money and loved to curse women. But let him know all these people he sent home this year and will take him out of government. And that's the story of an emailer. And that too, I am not going to change. But in the process, I will thank Almighty God for guiding our process tonight, as always. I want to thank you, the many callers. I want to thank you, the emailers. I want to thank you, the thousands of listeners on YouTube and Facebook combined. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Library, and God's Spear, we will connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until that time, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember, tell the world that our former Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, would be our guest on Straight Talk on Monday night. Tell the world about that. And we will connect then for that special edition of Straight Talk. Until that time, have yourselves a wonderful weekend, my Straight Talk family. And remember that whatever your mind conceives, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now, I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow, down on my knees. The Lord I kneel and pray, with my heart and soul, beg Him to take me through each day, my guardian to keep, and my guide, over every step I take, He will preside. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on. Catch me